Welcome to the New Teacher Talk podcast.
We are helping you find your passion,
Learn your craft,
and share your successes.
Welcome, everybody.
How's it going, Pablo?
It's going great. Wes, how you doing today?
I am well.
Excellent. So let's get this show on the road.
Sounds good. Just a reminder, give us a visit over at iTunes. Give us a 5-star rating and review. Leave some comments. We value them highly. And that would be great.
Yeah, so what are we talking about today, Wes?
So today's title is New Teacher Orientation, and there's a great reason why it's titled that. It's because in 2 days, we're going to be facilitating a new teacher orientation on behalf of the Innovation and Instructional Support Department where we work. And we thought it'd be great to share what we have packed into our day with new teachers.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's something that I remember as a teacher when I onboarded onto the Fullerton School District. I'd worked 4 years at a different district, came over, and it was not in the district prior was not memorable, but I don't remember the onboarding. I think I started at, it's just kind of a school-based thing, not necessarily a district-wide, greeting per se by the personnel there. But when I got onto the school district that we're working for now as a teacher, I really appreciated the half day that we had with all the departments, and it was just getting to know, and it was very simple, but it was getting to know some of the departments. Yes, is it overwhelming, especially a couple days before you're about to start on your first assignment? Yes, but I think very necessary. So you got to kind of take it all in and just kind of go with the flow, because if you don't, it can get overwhelming. But I do appreciate the departments at least acknowledging themselves and where I can find support from them. But there wasn't too much more than that. It was just kind of checking the boxes and things that we didn't get anything profound out of it. I don't remember, but I think the profound thing was starting to build those relationships that you're going to have within a school district.
That's good. Yeah, I think back to where I was hired. I came in as a long-term sub, so I was starting on a random day at the, midway through the school year. So there was nothing in place for me with a group of teachers. But I do remember I was in special education and they arranged for sub days for me. And I met with the special education department chair, and she went over some of the tests we were using to identify students with learning disabilities. So I got tutored on the RAT and the Woodcock Johnson were the two that I remember from back in the day. And then my next assignment at the high school, they had, again, I don't remember before the school year, an orientation, but I do remember a monthly support group, and they'd have a topic, like it could be attendance, and all the new teachers are invited to the library. There's some refreshments. They talk for 20 minutes about how you should do your attendance, kind of reminding you you've obviously been taking attendance, but also kind of help fill in those gaps for some of those things you hadn't really picked up yet. Those were great. I do remember when I moved to the teacher support department in my first district, Rialto, there was a year where we put all the new teachers on a bus and we gave them a tour of the whole district. And that was kind of a cool, different experience and actually as a teacher, I hadn't experienced that myself, so that was cool as a BITSA support provider to ride with the new teachers and see the district from their eyes.
Yeah, no, that's super. I would have loved that opportunity as well, especially in a bigger district, the one you're talking about. Ours is a little bit smaller. I guess it's medium considering some of the numbers that are out there. But one thing I would like before we get really into what we're going to do on our orientation for new teachers is talk about something we did at our leadership symposium, and it was built around finding your support group. We kind of called it Find Your Posse, but it was finding the people that are going to be part of your team. And it takes, what was the number of hours that was mentioned? It was a big number.
50 to 100 hours to develop trust as you would in a friend.
Yeah, so it's not just casual. Yeah, it's perfect. If you consider somebody a friend, it's probably not somebody that you just have casual conversations,
Yeah.
weekly or bi-weekly. It's something where you entrust them with certain parts of your life, and
Yeah.
you get more comfortable with them. But nonetheless, there was something that came out of that, and kind of the theme was also find your why.
Mhm.
And the reason I want to lead with this is I was running earlier today, and it popped into my head, and I have written down my why. I had written down my why at the conference.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
here's what we want. We never got to that
Right.
part as far as in our presentation, but it hit me, and I was like, I remembered it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I can't say I'm going to put myself on the spot right now, but I remembered it. I had written it down. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. And the reason I even bring this up is I think as a new teacher, you should know why you're teaching.
Yeah.
I know we can, and you need to kind of live through that. And that's the idea of finding your why. And if you don't know anything about it, you can look up Simon Sinek. We talked a little bit about that in a previous episode. But anyways, so here it is. Drum roll.
Drum roll.
Yeah. To support. So this is, so I'm on the run, and I think of it, and I'm like, it's to support teachers who support students to have, let me see, and I know you probably remember better than me, to have happy and fulfilled lives as adults.
That's it.
And
you
that,
get 100.
yeah, thanks. And it just hit me, and I was like, I remembered it. That means there's something to it. There's some stick-to-itiveness that it means something to me.
Yeah.
Now, can it have? Does it need some work and redefine a little bit? Yeah, you should always be looking at your why and why you do things. But yeah, that was my moment, and I thought about, I'm gonna talk about that in the orientation. I think that little piece to like lead with. We're kind of kicking off the orientation, then we have a full day of activities and such. But I think it's important to reach out and talk about that. So find your why. Find your why. Like, why do you do this? Why do you? I know we all need to have jobs, but you got it. That's why you're a new teacher.
Yeah, I think for me, that first few years were filtered through the lens of having worked as a youth pastor the 2 years before, straight out of college, and I had most of my work was trying to develop relationships, and so I went into education with that. And I really led with the fact that it's not, people aren't going to remember, they're not going to remember what you say. They're going to remember how you made them feel. And so I took that to my teaching.
That's great.
And of course, I had to build those skills. I didn't have them just because I had my why or was leading with that. Doesn't mean I was skilled at it, but it helped me kind of sift through all the drama and the trauma of being a new teacher. For me, it was a difficult. Classroom management came not so easy, and so having that why out there helped me focus on what was important and not get stressed out about the rest of it. So
very cool.
It was
very
good.
Cool.
All right. Well, you ready to jump into this new teacher orientation agenda?
Let's do it.
I'm excited about this.
This is a good practice run for us.
Yeah. And we're actually, we have team members in our department who help put this together.
Yes.
So we're working off, standing on the shoulders of our colleagues here because they
giants.
They put a lot of work into this. So in our first thing is going in, we didn't want to have this be kind of a talking head experience where it's just everyone sitting passively and there's one person at the front of the room. That being said, there is some of that because it's a new teacher orientation and you have to provide information. But we did want to. So I think it's important to note we're bringing in food like that. That's a human need.
and since more than likely we're speaking to an audience of new teachers or existing or new teachers to new sites, it's important to partake in that food that's provided because it is a conversational piece. I get it. Like if you're on a health kick and all they have is donuts and coffee there for you. Yeah. But at least to get up and have that glass of water and kind of commiserate with the people around the food. Food brings people together, and it's a perfect place to talk about almost anything and a perfect place to introduce yourself as well. So
that's great.
Yeah.
So opening with food, and then I think like you talked about the opening remarks, talking about your why, I think is so brilliant. And I was telling my wife, like I don't know what I'm going to say. Like I have this time with teachers, and so I think I not I think, I thank you.
Get
I
it?
thank you for bringing that up about starting with the why. So we do have an icebreaker activity, which probably makes half the people in every room moan and groan.
Yes, I'm raising my hand. I'm on video raising my hand. I agree, but a lot of the times they were activities where almost everywhere in my last district it was, even when we went to new professional developments, it was always, okay, let's start with introduce. I don't mind the introduction. You should know the room. Tell them one thing you're good at. Tell them one thing you're bad. Whatever the prompt is. But then get up and I was always, and you said it I was just moaning and groaning no, I don't want to do this. But you do it, and in some cases it turns out okay. It turns out fine. But I really think there's the moment is that I get a little fear was I'm going to have to present somebody's information and I'm going to get it wrong, or I need to talk about myself, and I'm new and I didn't want to do that. And I think that's where it stems from. It's not doing all this stuff. I know what the end goal is there, and I don't want to do it. So, but there is a but to all of this.
And it's good to remind ourselves the feelings we have about icebreakers are, the feelings our students will have about icebreakers. And sometimes we're trying to force that because we're told build relationships, do that. And you have to realize sometimes that's a very stressful position for your students to be in. And they don't all run into your classroom going, can I stand up and introduce my partner? That may be the hardest thing they do all year. But you did suggest a specific activity that we've done before, and I thought that was great. So it's a partner activity. Only you and your partner are involved. And it's kind of a game, and there's a little bit of competition to it. But then the main point is, after that kind of high jolt of energy, then we talk about how is this a symbol or a representation or an analogy or metaphor for you as a new teacher. So it's just engaging that critical thinking and helping people create a memory from that event.
And Wes, I think it's important enough. I think teachers could use this with their students. You want to explain how it works? The activity we're going to do. Yeah. And in fact, I'm gonna try to tell the team, just because I have anxiety, so it probably resonates with the rest. Let's not even use the word icebreaker activity. Hey, everybody, we're going to get up now. We're just get into it. And we're not
say stand up.
Yeah, stand up. But here's something you could do with your kids, and Wes can explain how it works.
Yeah, so it's an activity called Count 'em Up, and you just model it with a partner in front of the room. So you and your partner stand face to face about 18 inches apart. You put your hands behind your back. Someone counts to 3, ideally not one of the partners. And then you bring your hands out in front of you, and you hold them up so each person can see the other person's hands, fingers. And the first person to count the total number of fingers and call out that number, that's the winner of that round. And then you do a practice round, you do 3 rounds, and kind of after 2 rounds, you say, who's tied, and this is the championship round, and who's got 2-0. This is a grudge match, and it's super high energy because people just kind of burst into laughter at how hard it is to count and try to beat someone else to a certain number. And I usually play a little bit of music right when people start counting, and I use James Brown, I Feel Good. That's my go-to, just to interject a little bit of energy using music.
Yeah, and I think the discussion's up to you. You could just leave it at that. You had some fun. You started your first day with this activity, your first moment in class. Everybody just stand up and do that. Or you can have conversations around it, like what were your strategies, and so on and so forth. So you could really do anything with this activity. Yeah. It's real simple.
And that's actually the good lead-in, if you do want to debrief it, is what were your strategies? And so they start naming these strategies, and then you shift and say, how do these strategies and some of these ways that you use to cope with this, how would these show up in other ways? Yeah. So perfect. Usually, the point is having a plan ahead of time is one of the best strategies you can do, with whether it's plan A or plan B, but just planning ahead.
Right.
Good stuff. So we're going to introduce members of our department. So people they may call on in times of need. So they probably won't see them face to face, but just to give a face to the name.
Yeah, and this is true. Like I worked in our district for 10 years before I moved up into the district or the department that we're in now. And I probably only knew a handful of people by face, I should say. I would call a lot of folks, but I didn't make my way to the district all that often unless we had some type of PD that was being afforded or the opportunity to attend at the district. But yeah, it's important to kind of get to know our staff.
Yeah. And then it also honors the people who do the work behind the scenes, brings them into this moment, gets them to know some of the new teachers and just see, to look into the whites of the eyes and say, oh, you know what? The work I do supporting behind the scenes, it's important because we have people out here who are eager to make a difference with students. We have a piece where we're just going to get everybody logged into Google. That's kind of a mainstay in the district. So we just want to kind of test that, make sure everybody's ready to go. Then there's the tour. You want to talk about the tour?
Yeah, so we do have a little bit of a conflict in terms of the tour works for us, but it's even working better because we actually have to be at a department meeting, which is just kind of happened to be structured or scheduled at the same day, same time. But it's just 1 hour. So we're going to break away, but some of our team leads are going to take the teachers on a tour of all of the district departments and where you can find things. And that's important. So if you need to pick up something from the warehouse, you've never been to the warehouse and you know, you're going to know and remember you talked to this person, Mario, in the warehouse because you're going to remember his face. You're going to shake his hand and you're going to see him there. So it's a perfect thing. Like to be able to make eye contact and say, oh yeah, you were here on the first day, or you can utilize, I was there on that first day. Do you remember? Anyways, it's really cool that they're going to be able to meet face to face with a lot of the people that really run the school district and keep it running on the daily and through the summer. Because many of the folks at our district are 12-month employees and are working most of the summer. So that's super important that they keep our district running, and it's important to reach out and meet a lot of them. But anyways, they're going to go to transportation, our maintenance on operations, payroll department, probably a good place to visit. Human resources, another good place to visit.
Print shop.
Print shop. You got the list.
Yeah, the list. Well, you said payroll already, but that's important. Ed services, special ed, some of those. Also the front lobby in the boardroom. So a lot of decisions are made and a lot of presentations for schools to parents happen at the board meeting, in the boardroom during board meetings. So it's good just to, step into that and see that room firsthand.
Absolutely.
Of course, the IIS office, which is Innovation and Instructional Support.
And can I add, if you as a new teacher don't get this opportunity, it would behoove you to take a little time, whether it be before the school year starts or sometime shortly after, head down to the district, try to make a contact with somebody or contact somebody, or just ask for a quick little tour or even a list of all the district personnel and their numbers, or at least the departments. So you can kind of get an idea of who is supporting you, because it just makes it that much easier when you need support and help.
And it's interesting. It ties a little bit into a previous podcast episode where we talked about career paths in education and just being aware of, special ed, English learners, assessment. There's all these areas where you might potentially find a place to work and serve that's not in the classroom, somewhere down the line. And so just looking into these environments and being aware of them, connecting with those people in those roles, that's a good way just to kind of plant seeds for the future.
Magnificent.
You never know.
Great connection there. Yeah.
You never know.
Yep.
All right. So after the tour is over, we'll be back from our staff meeting. It's kind of like this magic show we're doing. And then we have a series of kind of 4 presentations that are all kind of loosely tied around school district systems, like the Student Information System, or SIS. So if you've never heard the word SIS, it's where all the student data is housed, and usually in terms of emergency contact, parent contact, demographics. It's often where you take your attendance. So it's a big system that is used across the district. We happen to have a messaging system called Blackboard Connect. So like a teacher can type a message and it can be sent out to all the parents. So we're going to go over that. Like as a new teacher, maybe it didn't exist in the late 90s. I hate to say it, the mid 90s. But I've been in districts more recently where that's common is introducing teachers into how to send mass messages.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And then our last one that we'll be talking about is Power School Learning, formerly Haiku.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a learning management system. So you may be utilizing Edmodo or Canva or Canvas, or a plethora of different other learning management systems. This is just the one we use. You should get to know that, obviously, and try to utilize it because it's super powerful. And there's a lot of different tools within a learning management system that allow you to connect with parents through your students or to your students for, homework or grade opportunities or just feedback for students. So there's a variety of different ways you can use a learning management system. Just know that there are some out there that are being utilized just, as ad hoc. Like Google Classroom, for example, has become very popular, and there's nothing wrong with it at all. But just know that it's not a complete learning management system. It's just for lack of a better term, it's just a houser or the holder of assignments and a way to communicate, but it doesn't necessarily incorporate parents and grades and kind of bring it all together. But maybe you don't need that per se.
Yeah.
It's a great place to start. But just know if you have a learning management system, try to get more informed or information about it and start using it.
Be aware of it and start using it.
Yeah.
It's hard to differentiate sometimes, but think of Google Classroom as designed for a single teacher's classroom, whereas the learning management system is designed for a district and schools, and there's a lot broader range of functions. A friend of mine said, Google Classroom is like the bicycle and learning management systems like a Ferrari.
I like it.
And so, it's just far more powerful. But do what works for you.
Absolutely.
But be aware of these tools that have been purchased specifically to support teaching and learning. Good. We're going to have lunch, which is also
more food,
great opportunity.
To talk to people.
Okay, so you want to talk about this next little piece here, the drone. Yeah, we're going to take a group photo,
but it's calculated, right? We're taking this group photo because we need a little time to reset the room, the space that we're in, because we're going to do breakout sessions afterwards. So we're going to talk about that in a second. So we're actually going to go out, fly one of our drones. We have one of our
colleagues.
I was thinking of who it was in my head. But anyways, we're going to have somebody out there already have the drone up, ready to go. So it won't take that much time at all. We're walking straight out onto a school that's next to us. And we're going to walk out on the field and get that shot done. But it'll be also an opportunity to know that we do have drones available in our district, either for use by the teacher, and we will train them. They just need to put in a few hours of training with us at the district level, but they can check these drones out. But then another opportunity to let them know that we also service 3D printers, and things of that nature. So we do have a lot of opportunity to have a discussion around the tools that we have at the district to check out and support.
Very cool.
Classroom.
Very cool. So I forgot about that detail. When the group of new teachers goes out for the group photo with the drone, we're resetting the room for breakout sessions. And this honestly is my favorite part, because we have like 8 people on board and doing 2 different topics each. So it's like 16 different topics in the afternoon, where you can choose what you want to go to. There's 4 sessions. So you're only going to get to 25% of the topics or sessions. But it's about choice. And that's one of the things we wanted to build in, is teachers prioritizing what's important to them, having choice to explore, and just modeling that's a way that you can run a learning environment,
Right.
And suggesting that is something that they might do for their students.
Yeah. So let's just each talk really quickly about one of the things. We'll each be doing 2, and like Wes said, I think we have a total of 14 or
16.
16.
Yeah.
What's the one you're looking forward to talking about?
All right, so I am gonna do a session twice on podcasts and live streams, and so for that, it's professional conversations that we're recording and live streaming, connecting to like area experts, like our learning management system specialists or our SIS specialists. We're gonna have live streams twice during the week, 15 minutes each, and it's just Q&A about the systems of the district. And so we're going to talk about how they can connect to those conversations. They can chat, they can ask questions on the fly, and it'll be recorded and archived so they can access it later. So that's something new we're developing. We started last year, and it's cool. We're innovation, so we're going to be live streaming our PD.
Yeah, so I'm going to be talking about Twitter and the importance of getting on and utilizing it as a professional development tool.
It's cool.
Some of the ideas and hacks that as you use Twitter, don't just be a participant. I should say, be a participant. Don't just retweet things. Retweet. If you don't want to compose your own tweets, go ahead and find tweets that you can actually retweet. That is just I'm having trouble saying the word retweet. So just make sure that you get out there and participate, retweet, but put your own messages to things. If you do tweet something out, add an image if you can. It actually pops more and allows people to see your message. And utilize hashtags to group conversations and so on and so forth. So there's going to be a whole 15 minutes of just Twitter and a discussion. But importantly, try to sign on for Twitter if you're not on Twitter. Just get on, get your username and get started.
Yeah, we're going to share the district hashtag, which some may be aware of, but many will not. And that's a great way to connect with other learning leaders around the district and just share what you're doing, but also connect with them and see what they're doing. So great.
All right, let's bring it home here.
14 other topics. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to this time with new teachers. My goal is, number one, to connect with everybody, shake their hand personally, look them in the eye, and I'm going to try to learn all their names. Because these are people who will be interfacing with our department and hopefully coming on board to be leaders of innovation in Fullerton School District. So I want to connect with them early on and get them hooked.
Yeah, and similarly, I want to be there as the firecracker, the catalyst, just to make sure they know that there is support, but that teaching in general is a hard job, but you do have a lot of support around you. So try new things. Don't be afraid to veer from the straight and narrow. Try things that you would enjoy as a student or just that make you happy. Be passionate about what you do.
Yeah, and that's back to bringing your why to the classroom.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then at the end, we have prizes for folks and we want to make sure that there's opportunity for prizes, but we definitely want to keep it as an intrinsic motivation. While those are all fun and games, we can't offer everybody the world all the time, but we can offer them opportunities for the world all the time.
So you're going to get a raffle ticket.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Very cool.
All right. That was fun.
Wraps it up. Yeah. Looking forward to it. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching or listening or wherever you're watching or listening to us. iTunes, YouTube.
World.
Anywhere you can hear podcasts. Yeah. All right. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Connect with us on social media at Pablo and Wes.
On Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, and all the podcast places on the web like
iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Overcast.
And remember to get your free special gift at
PabloandWes.com/gift. Yay!